just showed you what the 5 items are that we have to use for our layout this month. So there is twine, there is a grid pattern, a stencil, 3 or more words in our title, and washi tape. So I do good. I get all of those things checked off, which I'm really proud of. I'm using my How to Kill a Kit with Style January kit, which is made up mostly of scraps. So this is also kind of working towards my Baby Got Scraps series that a whole bunch of just fantastic scrapbookers get together to do every January, just really putting a dent in our stash and in all those scraps that we seem to just accumulate over time. So I do have a video for putting this kit together, but you can see there a lot of it. Oh, I'm just showing you my little my little guy came to work beside me. He's so cute. But yeah, so I was just kind of flipping through quickly all of the papers that I have in my kit. It's a lot of Scrapbook and Card Today sampler packs, and a lot of those I've maybe used one piece, or I've used a bit of the ephemera, or you can see here I have like maybe 2 pieces of paper that have a little cut into them, or a circle cut out of them. I'm just not using the full kits the way that I thought I would. So I took them all out of their little baggies, mixed them all together, and that is what I'm using for January. And they are scraps in the sense that a lot of these pieces of paper are actually just cut from a 12 by 12 piece. So they cut them up, and then each little pack gets a piece of the paper, just so you kind of get a nice sampling of what's in a few different collections. So I went ahead and I pulled these out. These are all from Paige Evans' Wonder collection, and I kind of felt like there's just a few little pops of color in my picture that I'm using, and these papers really kind of pulled out the colors. They aren't really bright in the photo, and there isn't, a ton of any one color except maybe that blue from the couch that's kind of in front of me. But I like the way that that little bit of pink kind of pulls out a little bit of pink from the title of the book, and the blue and the green from the trees. And so I just thought it worked really nicely. So once I chose the papers that I liked, I went ahead here and cut them down just a little bit so that they would fit onto that white background, and I could still have a bit of a border of the white paper, and made my grid pattern. So I've just broken this up into 4. I actually really like this general design. I don't know why I do it more often, because when I do use this, I always love the layout that I create. I've done this before where I created that sort of grid with the 4 different pattern papers, and then I slightly tilted them on the background paper. And I've done it where I've had a photo in each of the different quadrants, and I've done it where, like, this time I just have one picture that I'm going to put in the middle. I just think it's a really fun, versatile design, and I have to remind myself to use it more often. So I went ahead and pulled out a stencil that also came in one of the sampler packs, and I just wanted to add a little bit of texture paste to kind of give obviously some texture, some interest in that background. And so I'll just let that dry and go ahead and start matting my photo. It's just one picture of me with my feet up. I'm just kind of relaxing and reading a book while my daughter is doing some aerial yoga. And oh, look at this. You can see he has decided to literally crawl right up on top of my desk. And here in a second, I'm going to play you a clip. He's saying hi to everybody. Here he is. He's so cute.
He's jumping on the bed.
Hello.
I've gone back to work after being home trying to fight off this cough and everything that I've been dealing with. And so this is me on my first day back to work, and as soon as I got home, he was my shadow. He was my glued to my hip kind of thing. So I'm gonna let him do that for a little bit, because it's really nice that he misses his mama, but also I miss him too. So I don't mind if he's gonna sit up there for a little bit. Oh, and I also get to dance along to all of his little YouTube videos. If you guys have kids, you can see what he's watching, and I guarantee you all heard that song in your head and are singing along with him. So, yeah, he just needs a little bit of time to get the new routines and get adjusted. So he can hang out on my desk if he wants to. It just means you guys have to stare at his cute little toes for a bit. Oh, and yes, he does like to play with my bracelets and hold my hands. So how can you say no to that? So you saw me there just play around with some of those scrap papers that I had that I pulled out and create this map and put a few layers kind of behind my picture. I thought that the yellow and the green would work really nicely in contrast to the colors that I picked in the background. There is yellow and green in the patterns of some of those papers, so I feel like it fits in really well, but they aren't the prominent colors that I pulled out, so it gives the picture just that little contrast that helps it stand out. And then the book paper works well because obviously I'm sitting reading a book, but also because it sort of mimics the larger background where there's the white background and then the patterns are on top of that. So even though this has words in it, it mostly reads as a lighter color. It's not actually white, but it kind of reads more as a white paper, and so it mimics the entire layout and also means that my picture can really stand out from all of the patterns that it's going on top of. So it has dual purpose. But then I also thought I needed a few other kind of bookish things because I do plan to use the Wonder stickers, but they are just sort of, I don't want to say generic because they're mandalas, but they don't really have anything to do with books. So while I love them and I think they're beautiful and they have a lot of meaning, which kind of works well with the fact that I'm sitting outside of my friend's yoga studio and you know, I know what's going on inside the house. They don't have a lot to do with what I'm doing outside the house, other than the fact that I am kind of sitting and just reflecting and enjoying some peace and quiet to myself. So I went ahead and pulled out all of my stamp sets. I have a few kind of bookish stamp sets, and this one here, I love the bookmark on it. So I thought that this might be a fun way to just bring in something that relates to having the book and reading, and kind of gives me a spot where at the time that I was doing this, I thought could either be where I do some journaling or where I put the title. I hadn't really fully planned it out yet. I kind of wanted to do these little bookmarks and then see how they might turn out and where they end up on the layout, and then that would decide what I was going to do with them. So I pulled out some of my Distress Oxides, and I thought they might give me the best matches to the colors that I kind of have pulled out in the collection, and I think they work pretty good. The purple isn't really the right purple, but when I went to the stickers that you can see there beside me, there actually is a few different shades of purple and kind of indigo in there. So I thought, okay, this purple will work just fine. And you can see now that I'm holding it up, it does actually look really pretty. So I kind of wanted to give that same feeling of the paint swatches that you see in that top pattern. And that's where that kind of paintbrush technique came in instead of just, you know, filling the whole thing or just stamping the outline of the bookmark with the different colors. I kind of wanted to give it some sort of texture or feel that matched the collection, and I really like how they turned out. I think they turned out really well. So now here is my washi tape. I have this really nice washi tape that has words on it. I actually think it's a Valentine's washi tape that I got from Studio Calico when I used to subscribe to their monthly kit. I'm pretty sure anyways. I'm like 97% sure that that's where it came from. And it's got kind of Valentine's-y writing on it, but again, it's just, for me, it was just the writing and that there were words on it that weren't just, one big bold word. It actually looks handwritten. And so it didn't really matter what it said, but I wanted to have a little bit of black in there because there is some black detail in the picture. And I felt like I love the white background and I think it really makes the colors look nice and crisp, but then adding the black makes them pop. It really just brightens them and gives that contrast. And so I really like to try to use both white and black when I'm working with bright colors. There's just something about those two kind of neutral colors that helps your other colors be as bright as they can be. So, there was sort of a method to my madness with that washi tape, and I just kind of tucked it in there, ripped up again just because I was going for texture. There isn't a lot of extra stuff going on this layout because there's so many patterns going on, and the stickers that I'm using have a ton of detail to them. So I'm not putting a ton of embellishments or really big embellishments, which means that I want to be strategic with all the things I do put on there and try to get as much texture and interest in each little individual item. So once I kind of got my washi tape on there, I was able to decide where I wanted to have my little little clusters, you could say. So there's one in each of the little quadrants, and I've decided where I'm going to put my bookmarks. So now I'll go ahead and just put a few little bits of twine. Yes, I know this is actually embroidery floss, but I don't have a lot of twine. And so I'm personally going to say that this counts as my twine. And I'm just going to use it to give my bookmarks their little dangle. Is that what they call it? Just that fun little touch that all the bookmarks have at the top. So I picked some dark pink twine, some kind of light mossy green, and then almost like a sky blue. Here I'm picking out the blue. You can see that a lot of my embroidery floss is a mess and that it was all coming out in similar colors because my daughter actually was doing friendship bracelets with my nieces over the holidays. So I'm actually wearing one now that I see that. She made me a green one. So yeah, so that is where my twine is going to come in. So now I have the grid pattern, I have the stencil, I have the twine, and I have the washi tape. So the last thing I need to work on is my title. I actually used up everything. Oh, here I'm counting. I got ahead of myself in the voiceover. I did actually count. So now I'm trying to figure out if I can use these words to make a 3-word title. So I found the word happy, and then also the word girl was there. So I was like, okay, happy girl. I'm definitely a happy girl when I can sit and have a quiet moment to read. And then I started playing around with all of the words and sort of, blocking letters and counting letters and trying to see if I could come up with the word reading. And so I have the word inspire, and I was kind of able to cut it apart in just the right way where I could actually get all of the letters that I needed. So I have the R-E, and then here I'm going to use the I'm going to use the P upside down and turn it into an A. And then I'm going to use the I because it kind of had a long loop. And so I turned that into a D. And then obviously there was another IR there. So I turned that into an I and an N. And I had to go back in and find a G already on the page. But there was the word go, and I didn't know if I would ever really use that, so I just cut that apart, and I ended up being able to Frankenstein the word reading. So my title says Happy Girl Reading, and then now I can go ahead and pop the rest of those stickers on. I use this entire sticker sheet. I actually have 2 of them. One came from Christy, she kind of gifted me some, oh, he's holding my hand. She gave me this amazing Happy Mail package that she sent to me. And so I got a sheet from her, or I got the whole sticker pack from her. And then I got one sheet in my sampler pack. So I'm using the one from my sampler pack, and I figured since I have two of them, I might as well go ahead and just throw them all on there. So I'm sort of putting the same elements in each of the quadrants, but I'm not making the clusters look the same. So they're a little bit random. They're not really in the same place. They're kind of haphazard, which I feel like it makes your eye want to move around the page to kind of take in all of the information. So that's kind of a good trick when you have a lot of repeating elements that are the same shape and basically the same colors. You can cluster them in a way so that each cluster looks unique, and then your eye kind of has something to follow as it's taking in the whole page and looking around the whole page. So the very last thing that I'm going to do here, apart from some journaling, is I went back into my stamp set, to my Wild Whisper stamp set. They have a collection called One More Chapter. And so in the stamp, they actually have the words One More Chapter. And I thought I would go ahead and stamp that all around the outside. So here again is that black and white, and it's bringing in more words. And One More Chapter is always what I say to myself every night. I need to put that book down, but I'll just read one more chapter. So I thought it worked really well, and it kind of gives that bordering edge to my layout that I love to do, the kind of doodly border, but in this case it's with stamping. And then I finished it off with a sprinkle of my Heidi Swap Color Shine in gold, and that's it. That's my scrap 5 for this month. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please check out the links below for all the other lovely ladies who are joining in this month. And I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday and are all excited for the new year and doing well and are safe and healthy. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.